just doing a briefing in the speaker lounge, and people were asking me, how are you going to stitch all of this together, right? Because one is a hardware company, the other is an app store. And what just clicked in my mind is they're breaking all the myths and the barriers. Indus Appstore is breaking the walled gardens that have existed since the time mobile devices, smartphones came into existence. Pocket FM is the Netflix of audio storytelling. And Zoho needs no introduction. No, VC investments from Tenkasi, they are actually selling to Texas. So I think that's the common theme of today. And Beverly introduced the session beautifully. We went through a digital revolution in India when the mobile data prices dropped. Every single Indian had access to information, entertainment. That was the first revolution. I think we are living in the second revolution where this access has become intelligent. And intelligence has become a commodity, right? So we'll hear from each one of you in terms of how you are leveraging this intelligence in your products and in your platforms. Akis, you've mentioned that AI is not a gimmick for you. You're actually using AI in your products. And I think a few years from now, maybe we will not have phones, always with us. Maybe there is a different form factor. Can you tell us a little bit about how you're imagining the future with AI, with nothing?
Yeah, I mean, first we see kind of AI as a tool, and while it's been kind of quite a buzzword, I think there's been a lot of confusion in terms of where this is heading. But for us, we see as a tool to help us kind of develop the next kind of operating system. When you think about the smartphone, ever since we, saw the first iPhone, the fundamentals of the user experience hasn't really changed, right? You're still kind of tapping and swiping through kind of home screen, opening apps, and so on. While our kind of dependency on smartphones and so on has drastically changed. So where we're heading is towards having an operating system that will be very fluid, not only focused on the smartphone, but a whole kind of ecosystem of IoT products, same IoT ecosystem. We've been hearing that about a lot. But this kind of next operating system, what we'll do, it will be hyper-contextualized, like very context-aware in terms of where you are, what you're doing, highly personalized. Same, I think now all the apps are kind of tailored to the masses, but the way I will be using like social media will be different to how other people will be using it. So I think this kind of operating system will be very kind of aware about yourself, and this will be relied on like data source from like audio products. We've been hearing about glasses and so on, a whole kind of IoT product ecosystem, and very fluid. Sometimes you don't always need your smartphone. It can be voice. And a few use cases, if you think about it. So for instance, taking a plane. So much friction in terms of, doing your check-in, getting to the airport. Now I need to go to the airport tonight. I don't know, do I need to leave like 2 hours before because of the traffic? Like all this data is like present, somewhere. And it doesn't require you to kind of continuously sense check. So like what this next kind of operating system with kind of AI at the center of it, it will be just seamless. It will know that when you need to leave, it will prompt your boarding pass. You won't have to kind of tap through apps. It will kind of centralize everything and being very seamless. Sometimes another example which I like to use, when I lived in London, I used to kind of walk to the office and listening to ebooks. And what happens is, I arrive at the office, the ebook is still kind of going, and then you are chapter 12, and you don't know where you kind of stop listening. Like in the future, even using like wave brains, it will be able to kind of know where your distraction kind of switched from listening to the audiobook, and then as soon as maybe the next day when you kind of do that same walk again, it will start, as soon as you put your headphones, it will know that you leave your house, and it will start your ebook from that point where you left off or you kind of zoned out. And we're definitely heading towards that experience, which is like super seamless. And yeah, that's what we're extremely excited about.
Great. Priya, you are present on more than 10 crore devices. how are you thinking of AI and reimagining the app ecosystem for Indian developers?
Yeah, so I think, like we said, we are an Indian app store made for India. I think that is the core of it. So we're using AI very aggressively to actually solve very India-specific basic problems. I mean, the tone is similar to what Akash said. It's discovery, it's personalization, and how do we enable the Indian developer ecosystem. If I put it in the context of Indus, what discovery means is how do I break the language barrier in India? How do I break it? And one of the things we've launched is an AI voice assistant in about 12 Indian languages. So it's sort of, and which is trained on Indian accents, which is trained on the speech patterns in India. So what it enables a user to do is you don't need, I mean, we don't have keyboards, unfortunately, on phones which enable the Indian scripts. So it's very difficult to actually type and get something out there. So we enabled voice, and hopefully this will reduce friction and enable access. Coming to personalization, when we're talking about language, it's not translation. It's about actually building context. In Karnataka, maybe Karnataka Rajyotsava is very important. In Maharashtra, Ganpati is very important. How do I discover things related to the cultural context? I think those are the kind of things we are using AI for, to actually hyper-contextualize in the Indian cultural context. Last one, I think the most very personal one for me, and I'll share one data point there on developers. If you look at the Indian developers who are active in the 500,000 apps on Google Play in India, that's only 3% of Indian developers are actually part of that pool. Whereas if I look at the downloads, we actually contribute to 10% of the downloads in the market. So how do we actually enable the Indian developer ecosystem to actually, get simplified tools, get simplified access, to actually start contributing to the global ecosystem? How do we get higher? I think that is something, again, we are doubling down on. So yeah, that's how we are focusing on. And AI, honestly, is not a buzzword for us. It's like an enabler. It's like, how do we build access? How do we build representation? How do we enable growth? So.
Interesting. Umesh, the one industry or the one vertical which basically will get disrupted is entertainment and the creative field, right? It's already happening, but also the resistance in terms of using AI is, I feel, highest amongst these set of people, but Pocket FM seems to have cracked the code. You actually use your AI tools for your creative people. Can you tell us a little bit about that and also the impact numbers that you're already seeing?
Yeah. So the way we look at is based on, whenever it comes to AI and usage of AI, the resistance you mentioned is primarily comes from the philosophy behind it, right? We fundamentally believe, and that's our vision, is storytelling is and will continue to be a human endeavor. But what AI can act as an accelerator for that. And that's why we look at it, and that's how our product suite is built. So our Copilot, if you look at it, writers stay at the center of it. They control the arc, they control the character, how the story should flow. But AI helps them expanding the story, detailing out, making sure each episode starts at a high note and ends at a cliffhanger. And that takes all the tedious work out of the storytelling from the writers and makes the stories highly engaging. And that's how we look at usage of AI.
Interesting. And Raj, Zoho started using intelligence in its products way before Gen AI happened, the Zia product that you had. Can you tell us one customer story of impact, whoever was using Zia?
Actually, instead of looking at it as one important needle-moving moment or feature, the way we have been seeing it ourselves inside the company, personal productivity, group productivity, and our customers, when they write to us, when we meet them and they tell us about how it helped, how a particular thing helped, more often than not, we sense that it is the little things that matter. The things that fade into the background are not even promoted as a brand new AI feature in 2025. Little things, for example, assume somebody is using Zoho People, our HR software. A conversational interface that they can actually query the company policy database and ask, how many leave grants do I have now? Can you combine it with upcoming puja holidays and check if my manager has any tasks pending for me so that I can optimize my trekking trip that I am planning with my friend? This sort of conversation is possible today in every product that Zoho has. And that's the Zia you talked about, the Zia intelligent agent. It's not a single product, it's not a single feature. It is the lubrication or the removal of friction. Like he talked about the airport experience, where I know the destination, I know where I am. Mindless series of 10 steps that I do every time. Can't somebody learn them about me and allow me to get it done so that I can focus not on the keys I have to press and the words I have to use, but what I do next after I reach my destination? That is the aim. So it's the little things. In fact, I would even recommend those of you going AI first to think about it as not the AI way of doing things, but AI helping you along the way of doing things. So that is a conscious mind shift here. There's life beyond AI. I want you all to come there, seriously.
Interesting. Any tech, whether it's AI, tomorrow quantum, AI is the flavor of the season, and it will stay as the flavor of the season for a while. But any tech needs reach, right? It needs to basically become mainstream. And especially in India, with more than 1 billion Indians that we have, 55% of the Indians stay in rural sort of geographies. We have open platforms like your UPI and ONDC and Bhashini. These are making access even deeper for Indians. Akis, you've been talking about India being an innovation lab for you. You've been innovating products for India. Tell us 1 or 2 key learnings that will help create products in India, but for the globe. Because none of the OEMs are actually doing that, if you think about it.
Now, for us, I mean, India has been a big market from the get-go, and I think that's the kind of real power of India, right? It's a huge domestic market where kind of any business can thrive, expand, and then kind of building the capabilities here locally and then go worldwide. For us, we started outside of India, but our kind of main market from the get-go, given the sort of, how young the population is, how tech-savvy people are in India. You don't see that anywhere else. And of course, like a lot of like government initiatives supporting that, giving that momentum and creating a huge kind of tech ecosystem. And that's been, while people are seeing the sort of momentum picking up now in a quite aggressive way, it's been like 10 years in the making. So for us, India has been, ever since at the start of our journey, working closely with users, because it's, let's say, also a big, for any new company, a big kind of beta testing market, because people really know their tech, they're early adopters, so they will be testing the product, they want to be engaged. And for us, even when we started nothing, we did this, we had this vision that we wanted to bring users on the journey. So we did this kind of big crowdfunding, allowing end users to kind of invest in the company and elect one of them to be part of a board observer. So, and the first board observer we had, that person sits in our board meetings and kind of funnels all the feedback relating product related to the company from the users. And that person was from India as well. So very engaged since this get-go, and they really helped us, all those users, to kind of further refine our software. And to date now, I saw actually last year, Nothing OS, our software, was the #1 on a big kind of tech platform as people's favorite software experience. And this has been anchoring to the sort of continuous feedback loop with the Indian users at the core of it, because they've been seen us from the beginning, and then the growth has been exponentially. So we've been even closer, working closer with the tech ecosystem, and even recently announced a joint venture, a manufacturing joint venture in the region for our CMF, which is a sub-brand that we're kind of now headquartering in India and like really building now from India to the world. So I think it's just such a fascinating market, and I think all the right tools and the right ecosystem is here to kind of thrive, and we're very bullish.
And congratulations for the recognition, Akis. Priya, you are building across 13 different 12, 13 different languages. When you build for something this diverse, what's that one design principle you have to keep in mind?
I think it's a learning we've learned when we launched the product. Let the user choose. I think that's the first one. So when we launched it, we actually had a very simple, the language screen, we had English selected. Most people went ahead and continued with English. We removed the choice, and 42% plus actually did not choose English. And what that meant is more users, and the retention actually doubled or even more for this set of users. So I think that's at the core of it. Let the user decide.
Interesting. Raj, Zoho is building everything from India for the rest of the globe, right? So while you briefly touched upon how you're collaborating using AI and making it easier for the Zoho employees, are there any certain nuances that you have to keep in mind when you're building enterprise products for the West compared to India? Any key learnings there?
Yeah, I think keeping the ear to the ground, like she said, even subconsciously we inject some dark patterns in the design we give. And if you are attentive enough, and if you are lucky like Zoho, see, if you are Facebook, you can't use Facebook all day and continue building Facebook. But luckily we are Zoho, and we use Zoho for building Zoho. Our customer support runs on Zoho. Our document creation runs on Zoho. Our internal communication runs on Zoho. So every product we launch is probably battle tested 6 to 8 months within the company before it even sees the light of day. So by doing that across every country where we have a footprint in, where we have an office in, if you can listen closely and have a system where small but quick changes can be made to the agile changes can be made to the software launch process, I think we are covered there. So that's how we have been managing it till now. No great gaffes.
And has AI sort of helped in doing this faster? Can you share some impact numbers?
No, actually, people talk about AI having an exponential impact. I would say it is fractional, incremental, yes, but incremental. We haven't allowed AI to go into production yet. The generation of code for internal prototyping, for trying out 100 different things before identifying the right path to go. A product manager coming in with a full-blown prototype rather than a picture and a boxes and arrows approach, probably that is welcome. But hitting production, I mean, we are not there yet, and probably we are a little too conservative, but that's how we always have done our work. And we have enough employees. We haven't laid off anybody. Yeah, we are happy to have them. And they are doing an amazing job working with us. And what we use AI for is as sounding board. It's a sounding board. It helps us validate some of the human decisions we are taking with wisdom acquired over the years. That validation, the internationalization that you talked about, is helpful there.
Interesting. I'll come to that point on employee productivity because we heard something very interesting from Rajan yesterday. Umesh, you are on the other spectrum of like what Zoho is doing. You have gone full production in terms of AI, right? And I read this news article from the founder where he mentioned that from months it has taken your time to market down to days in terms of translation of stories into various languages across the globe. Can you tell us about that journey?
Yeah, for us, everything is AI first. So broadly, 2 or 3 areas, right? One is we use AI heavily on in our recommendation systems. our users use, because it's audio product, while commuting, while working, etc. So what content we recommend at what point matters a lot. And that's where AI has played a huge role. Now coming to the other side, where enabling writers, as I was mentioning earlier, how do we enable writers to write more and write better? Because our stories are long. They are 300, 400 hour long stories. While the creativity part could be exciting for the writers, it could turn tedious as well. So as they keep control of the narrative, but a lot of other things, AI could help them. And that's how we have built Copilot for writers. And with that, we see multifold improvement at the speed at which they are able to write. Even more exciting story has been adaptation. As you can imagine, stories are typically universal. The emotion part of it, right? If you make them deeply contextual. So we have created our in-house AI models to adapt stories to different contexts and different locales. And with that, we have been able to adapt over 10,000 stories. And typical adaptation would take weeks or even months in some cases. But with the help of AI, we are able to achieve those in matter of hours. And that magically improves our time to market. And that has been a huge, huge benefit for us.
No, that's fascinating.
A clarification. I mean, consumer AI is very different from business AI. So we deal with customer data, sacred data. We cannot allow deterministic versus probabilistic decisions happening there. Hallucinations are not allowed. And even when we launch an AI solution, it is a zero knowledge, smart engine that's given away, hived away to that particular unique customer. And then the customer is training it on their data, and we learn nothing from it. No other competitor or other customers learn anything from it. I hope you understand the difference between a Gemini AI and a Zia AI. Zia AI is for your organization when you become a customer of Zoho, and for you to handle your customers. That data, it cannot leave the organizational boundary. Also, in a typical consumer environment, anything anybody learns, everybody else can learn from it. That's the way self-driving cars became so smart, so well, so fast. But here, I can't learn from seeing the payroll processing data of my teammate. There are hierarchical boundaries also involved. So a lot more complex is how I see it.
No, and I hear you because roughly about, I think, 2 years back, in my previous organization, there was a pilot which was done, and this person from HR was actually testing it out. And a few of us were enrolled as pilot sort of users, beta users, and we could actually access very private data of other employees. So,
Exactly.
Yes. So
Better to be safe than sorry.
Yes.
You have to be very careful.
And AI means different things for different industries,
People, yes.
right? For you, it would be operational efficiency. For Pocket FM entertainment,
Creative
it is
content,
foundational.
yeah.
So, yes. I guess coming back to you, you are building products for India. And if you look at, I worked in Nokia like several decades ago. At that point, there was no talent in India to do the manufacturing end-to-end, to do the design, the idea of the product and everything, industrial design. Today, India is, it is a talent hub across all sorts of skill sets. So one, how are you thinking about India, not just from a market in terms of where you can sell, but also working with the talent that's available in India?
Now, again, I think, India is and has been now like a real hub. And I think in the coming years, that role as part of, especially the smartphone industry, they will be at the forefront, there is no doubt. That work has started almost 10 years ago now with Making India initiative, like the whole kind of knowledge transfer, the manufacturing capabilities are here. Now quite exciting as well that a lot of brands are kind of tapping into India's potential in terms of like engineering. There is so much that has to be done with that as well. So this is why we kind of moving our whole headquarters and gradually our kind of product development as well outside of India. And I think it's quite fascinating to, what the country has done in the, to be able to create that ecosystem where, we're going to see a lot of smartphone brands being launching out of India, like it was the case like 10 years ago in China. Now there is no reason whatsoever that won't be happening in the next kind of 5 years. And I think while we've been, congrats to everyone that's been involved into creating that opportunity for all of you as well today. We're extremely excited because, we started initially with India, we're able to build our product capabilities, but now we're also able to kind of create with India and from India to the world, and we are equally excited about everything else to come ahead.
From hardware phones and other form factors to providing a platform for application development, the success of your...
hard job. You're doing a tough job.
Yes, I'm trying to sort of stitch a common narrative across all four. Your platform success is dependent on what are the friendly developer tools that you create, and Indus Appstore has done a phenomenal job, right? What's that one secret sauce which has helped you scale so far, Priya?
So I think, I'm guessing you're talking about the developer side of things. So for us, I think the core philosophy for developer is how do we make sure that the product stands out? And how do you make sure that we enable the developers, the product to win? It should not be the person with the largest amount of money in the bank who should be winning, which is the case in the app ecosystem, unfortunately, today. So I think what we want to do in everything we do, and thankfully sitting within PhonePe, we have gone through our journey of app and we understand the developer problems. We are trying to build and externalize tools and simplified tools for each and every developer in India. So you can actually build great products. We will enable discovery here. We'll also help you create marketing, create the visuals. We'll actually help you build tools which can build very strong products, which can actually compete globally. I think that's where we want to handhold each developer, small or big, in whatever stage of the journey they are, by actually delivering those, so actually can create here and win big globally and compete globally. I think that's the vision. Still early in our journey. I think, looking forward to working with everyone to get there.
Great. Raj, Zoho has basically stayed away from raising money. Zoho is just different from all the startups and unicorns that we have in India. It's a very, very rare sort of story, right? With AI, and this is the point that Rajan was making yesterday, he said one of their portfolio companies had 600 employees I forgot the time frame, about 2 years back, and today they have 100 employees, but the revenue has grown tenfold. It's actually a 12-month journey, all because of AI. They're becoming more and more efficient. How do you see AI playing to Zoho's advantage, given you already have such a unique business model?
We're not that bullish on AI. We feel it can at best be a co-intelligence that can work with you and probably magnify human potential. But handing over the keys to AI, watching it perform its magic is not our way of doing things. You talked about all the things we do differently. It's not a feather in our cap. Probably we don't know how to do it your way, right? The fast, grow fast, break things, learn again kind of way. We would rather take time, do it right, take care of our society, and ensure nobody goes jobless when doing that, even if it means leaving some money on the table. That's always worked out for us in these 30 years. And when we look at AI, as a digital employee coming along, I'm surely not treating it as an enemy or somebody who has come to take my seat. But one thing I want to do, and I encourage my team to do, is do your thing and ask for validation, rather than ask it to do it, whatever you had to do, And then slowly, I mean, we are losing the understanding of whether we are a creator of something using AI or whether we are consuming an AI's output. If you are in the consumer mode, we are doomed to the exit door. So we need to always have ownership and agency about what's happening under the hood. Ask it to explain the code you wrote rather than explain something to it and ask it to write the code. Yeah, so that's an important differentiation. The other request that I tell my team that I would like to share in this stage I have received is, there was a time when you could be a speaker, you could be a writer, you could be a coder, you could be a designer, and hence you can get away from the rest of it. I know so many designers who can't speak a single sentence properly, but they are amazing at design. They even designed this Zoho logo, yeah, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. But today, I see it in our rural offices. Because of the over-bias of language in AI systems, too much English. That's not the representation you told me, 55% rural. Because of that bias, there are people who are struggling to come on board. We talked about this digital divide once upon a time. There is this AI divide that's come now. There is this powerful engine in front of me, but I don't know how to whisper the right prompt to it to generate the right thing out. So probably the time has come for all of us to improve on our writing skills. And if you have to improve your writing skills, you have to improve your reading skills. Go voraciously read from all sorts of content. Get your vocabulary. Learn the 14 different words that represent the color blue. Yeah? Cerulean blue, sky blue, Cimmerian blue. Learn all that. Because that's important if you're going to be working with a co-intelligence that is very fast becoming much smarter. Yeah.
Well said. And I think it's all about going back to your fundamentals. Essentially, AI is doing that. The time is up, but one closing thought from anyone on the panel. Any closing thoughts?
I want it from him. I want it from you.
For me? No, I think maybe before you asked about two takeaways, working with, from being abroad, working with India, I think for us, I guess my two takeaways is, succeed with the Indian users, you succeed everywhere. That's number one. I think, again, the ecosystem here, the savviness of the people, the knowledge is incredible. And this is why, we've been working very closely to them. And I think, and one thing which I have to say as a company is, whatever you give to India, India will give you back twice. And that's been equally exciting for us. And very exciting things to build together from India to the world. And hopefully we'll be hearing from us next year quite a lot about kind of how we can champion India outside of India to the world.
Super. Thank you, Akis. And with that, I'll have to close. I think AI opens up imagination, access basically provides inclusion, and then ambition is the impact that all of you are driving for India. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.